moment, it didn't feel that bad. We was all just on the balcony in the city, and then he's played Sweet Caroline, and he was like, if you want to join in, here's the mic. Based on the music that I could hear, I was in tune. When I watch it back on TV, it's horrendous. Hi, I'm Georgia Stanway, and I'm here to play Box to Box. Today I'm going to be opening and seeing what's inside these boxes, so I'm praying that it's something good and not something that I'm scared of. I'm a bit nervous. It's not going to be bad, is it? Okay, classic. Yeah, that's sick. Do I get to keep these? No, I'm joking. So, classic Newcastle.
Who was your biggest footballing hero growing up?
Yeah, Shearer. Yeah, my family was massive in Newcastle growing up. I think I liked his attitude. I think that's the biggest thing, especially when I was growing up and I played more like the forward position or the 9 position. The way that he scored goals and the completely different like ways of finishing and everything was just so natural. There's been a few times where I've tried to recreate goals. When I was younger and more recently I did it as well, just trying to recreate one of his goals, and no matter how many times I try, I'm absolutely nowhere near. The goals are that prolific and that good. You could try 100 times and never be able to recreate it. I kind of liked his edgy side, and just the fact that he stood up for his teammates is like really important. So if somebody was a little argy-bargy, he was always in the mix trying to resolve something or trying to stand up for his teammates. So I've kind of got that in my game as well. Yeah, I can be a bit edgy if needed.
How much does scoring records mean to you?
I'm fortunate enough to say that I left Manchester City as like the record goal scorer, but I think in the moment you don't really think about it. It kind of just sprung upon and was like, okay, you've got a few more goals and then you break the record, and then that's when you get a little taste for it. And obviously you want to beat the record before your time's up or before the end of the season, and I think that was kind of my thing. I think I found out in like the January or the February that I was close to getting up there with the record goal scorer. In that way, it's that little bit of wanting to achieve it, but you're kind of not really aware of it until it comes like close around.
If I had to put you on the spot right now, who do you think, in your personal opinion, is the best player in the women's game?
The best player in the women's game? I'm going to big my friend up, but I'm going to say that I think Keira Walsh is massively underrated. I think it's only like the past year where people have actually realised the player that she is, where we've been able to recognise it in training every single day over the last 7 years. Now people are starting to realise how good that she actually is and the importance that she has in the six. Yeah, she's getting as much credit as she deserves, and I think it's unfortunate that she's not actually in Champions League Team of the Year this year.
How does it feel knowing that youngsters look up to you and you're someone's idol?
Yeah, to be someone's idol, it comes with the job, but at the same time, you don't realise the importance. I remember when I was younger a few times meeting players at the time, so I think there was Sue Smith come to a local tournament, Farrah Williams was coaching in my area. I met Steph in the past. I think you've seen the terrible picture of my terrible haircut. But yeah, just meeting them was like a dream come true. And to have the same feeling and to be able to give that same feeling is, it's wholesome. Thank you. Number 2. Okay. I approve.
What went through your head when you heard the news that you were included in the England Women's World Cup squad?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's a weird day in itself because you're waiting all day for the email or for the post on social media to come out, and it's a stressful time, but at the same time, it's a huge honour because you've worked so hard all season. I was actually on holiday at the time that the squad come out. We won the league on the Sunday, and then a few of us decided to get in camper vans and get in tents, and we drove 4 hours to Lake Garda and we spent a few days there. So that was when I found out. It was obviously nice to just be around the girls as well, and straight away they were congratulating me, and it was just a very nice feeling.
Talk us through your earliest memory of a World Cup.
So my earliest memory of a World Cup was 2015, Canada. I think that was, to me, probably like the turning point and the point where I was like, okay, I want to compete, I want to go to tournaments. Itself was huge. It was all over the TV. The recognition was massive. And at the same time, that was the moment that I joined Manchester City. So I turned up, I think a few weeks before the girls got back from Canada. It was just inspiring. And to be in training and obviously the girls to arrive back from Canada, obviously the round of applause, having said I'd not met any of them. And it was kind of like a surreal feeling. To play in this Women's World Cup will be unbelievable. It's kind of surreal, knowing that you're going to a World Cup, you're going to the other side of the world. But I think the biggest thing is just the whole experience. We're going to create both memories on and off the pitch. The memories off the pitch are just as important as the memories on the pitch, and they're kind of the ones that you remember the most. The biggest thing that we can't do is compare it to the Euros. The Euros, being on home soil, everyone being England fans and supporting us, and that's just such a unique experience and such a unique tournament in itself. That's what's so special about Australia, is it's just going to give us a completely different experience. We just have to manage different things. So obviously Australia is going to be a different time zone, potentially a different climate. Families are going to be on different times as well. So in order to communicate with them, it's going to be slightly different. So I think it's just trying to create a family within the environment that we've got, and trying to create the family with the girls that we've got, and just enjoy ourselves in the moment, not getting too ahead of ourselves, not getting caught with what's going on the outside, and just trying to live in the moment.
Who are you hoping to get stuck next to on the plane?
It's got to be Keira. Yeah, unfortunately we're missing our trio partner this year, but I'm sure she'll be on FaceTime every single day. We know when we want to switch on, we know when we want to switch off, and we can watch something together. We know when enough's enough, and I'm like, right, Keira, shut up, I'm going to sleep now. But vice versa, we've just got a really good relationship where it's just so easy. Box number 3. Stein.
So you've got some nice 0% beer in that Stein. How hard was it to leave England, the place you grew up and spent the first 7 years of your career in?
It was difficult. I think the difficult decision is the right decision, as in like which way to go, whether the right decision is to stay or the right decision is to go. And yeah, personally, I can say that the right thing was to go. I was fortunate enough to have so many good people around me at Bayern and good people around me in my support network, which makes everything so much easier.
Did you get much grief from your German teammates after beating them in the Euros?
Good question. I got a little bit, but they were actually so respectful. I remember doing like a thing where we went to the men's stadium and we were on the pitch and we like showcased our medals, and the girls straight away were wanting to take a picture with the gold and like pretending to steal it and stuff, but they were just like so respectful. And I think deep down they kind of are happy for us that we won, just because of the massive occasion, it being at home, it being at Wembley. And I think if it was vice versa, they'd have probably wanted it in exactly the same situation. But yeah, I think the biggest amount of stick was when I was singing Sweet Caroline. In the moment, it didn't feel that bad, but I feel like when I watch it back, it's horrendous. We was all just on the balcony in the city. The guy said, "Oh, Georgia Stanway, come on down." And I'm looking down thinking, like, what have I done? Like, and I went down and he was like, "Oh, like up next is your favourite song." And I was trying to think, what's my favourite song? I was like, "It's Coming Home, it's coming." No. And then he's played Sweet Caroline and he was like, "If you want to join in, here's the mic." Based on the music that I could hear, I was in tune. I was in line with the song. Some of the words were a little bit hit and miss. And then when I watch it back on TV, I reckon the mic's gone straight to the TV and I've not been able to hear myself. And it's a mad techno version of Sweet Caroline. And it's completely wrong. But yeah, everybody loved it, so I can't complain.
What's Bayern like as a club? Do you ever have to like pinch yourself and be like, I can't believe I'm here?
Yeah, definitely. I think turning up to the training ground every day it's always an honour. You can never take it for granted and you can never like get comfortable in a space. Bayern itself is such like a historical, traditional club, and to be a part of that I think is massive. Yeah, it's just an environment like no other. And just for example, which has never happened before, my brother and my dad come over and they were allowed to watch training, and then they could eat in the canteen and they could get a drink from the canteen. And yeah, it's just so welcoming and it's almost like that family feel, which I think is so important.
You seem so genuinely happy at Bayern. You seem like you've got a new lease of life. It's a new chapter, and talking of chapters, you've got a book coming out. Are we going to hear about this chapter a lot?
It's kind of aimed at 8+, but just kind of go through the process of growing up, being like a young kid, but also going through like the teenage years, so the things that you might experience as you're growing older. So yeah, me, Keats and Toone talking very honestly about the ups and the downs and the things that we've faced along our journey, and just hopefully it can give the younger generation like a little bit of insight or a little bit of guidance, a little bit of help towards just making them happy and making sure that everybody's going to become a lioness in whatever way they choose to become, and just gives them a little bit of activity, a little bit of reading, and just a hands-on book to help them get to the top. Thank you. The next, oh, you could have got the real ones. Yeah, when we was locked down, fishing was one of the only things that opened up very early, seeing as though that it's outdoors, and I was able to just be down the bank, be fishing, be at the ponds, spent most of my nights just camping out.
What's the heaviest fish that you've caught?
Somebody asked me that the other day. I think it's mid-20s, a fairly decent size, and it was the biggest one that was in that fishery, so it was quite cool that I caught it, and everyone around me was quite surprised, looking at me thinking, oh, she's female and she's caught the biggest fish that's in here.
Is there someone who you would absolutely not take fishing with you?
I'd probably say Rachel and Millie, because when you're around the fishery you have to be quiet. Yeah, you know how loud they are, so that would not work and I would not be catching anything.
Aside from fishing, how do you relax away from football?
Apart from football is I'm like quite outdoorsy, so like I just like to walk around, I just like to, might be shopping, it might be seeing new sights. Yeah, I like to visit lakes and visit mountains, and being from the Lake District, I think that's kind of installed in me to be a little bit outdoorsy. The biggest thing during the Euros was we made bracelets we made necklaces. I don't think I've got one on today, but it was like with like the smiley faces or like the little icons. Yeah, we went through a phase where we was ordering beads every single day from Amazon, and we had things turning up, and that was kind of like a full team activity that we really enjoyed doing together, just to keep busy. So yeah, we really enjoyed doing that.
How do you switch off after those games?
I think it's really hard to switch off after a game, especially after night games, because you just expected to go home, eat and then sleep, but it's sometimes not as easy as that. I think the best thing's just to get a good series on, or just try and spend some time with the girls. So yeah, by the time you've eaten and been able to chat a little bit, by then you're probably a little bit tired. That was Box to Box with me, Georgia Stanway. I hope you enjoyed it, because I did. Like, subscribe and follow.